Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the game of Nebulous, where we'll see some ships explode in fantastic fashion, I hope. First order of business, we have to shame everyone who did not bring exactly 3,000 points. In the year 2023, I cannot believe this. Three people and Logros. I know the country's best yogurt is better than this. Seriously. I mean, at least the 5 points that Pogo the Clown is over by are being donated by his teammates. But still. Do a quick check-in. If anybody in chat is having any problems with the stream, let me know. Check the Discord real fast. Doesn't seem to be anything going wrong. So we'll hit it up. On Pillars, this is a P2P game. And a phone call. In the GM. Is it GM? I feel stupid saying that. Like, BM, obviously, everyone knows what that is. Hey, Raptor. How's it going? Good manners? I feel like no one mentions good manners, right? It's like, haha, surprise, you're being a decent human being. No one comments on that, do they? So, I forgot to check. I believe Team 2 is OSP. But it might be ANS, considering there aren't a lot of ships going out. I suppose not a lot on Team 1 either. Pretty standard deployment. Here comes the country's best yogurt. Does TCBY even exist? Like, as a brand anymore? I don't think so, right? They must have gone bankrupt. I'm horribly dating myself right now that I even know what that stands for, aren't I? Just terrible. All right, here comes in the Postal Service. I believe, yep, that's point D? Yeah, D for donut. So, looks like a 250 plus beam Axford. Oof. This is highly suspect. You've got the 120 doubles on the side mounts instead of stone walls, a beam. I mean, it has the defenders. What kind of missiles are in here? Size 2. Tempest? If this is a default missile, I believe it's just regular active radar. And 250 turrets and beams. Not a whole lot of ship there, though. Meanwhile, his teammate, we've got a 450, some Stonewall, some 120s. Is it a double 450? It is indeed. No bullseye. Was there no bullseye? There's no bullseye. You know, that's interesting. I've definitely not seen too many ships run like that. What's up, Piston Miner, by the way? 450 backpack. This is packing some more size 2s. Not too many of them. And to cap it off, we have another 450 backpack. A lot of backpack, Axford. Who needs luck when you have 6 strike planning centers? What? No. Really? 1. Yeah, just the 1. What you talking about? Over here, Fraggersoft. I see 1, 2. Wait, are these also T-30s? Yeah. 3. 4. Is this Task Force Garnet? Slightly edited. So 5 T30 plasma monitors. They should be pretty good at pushing. Meanwhile, looks like 2 pairs of rocket shuttles, and with that is a missile. Yeah, a missile monitor with, you know, a below average number of missiles. 72 isn't that much. And, oh, please say it's not so... Okay, good. This is a missile liner and a container ship. So an awful lot of... Oh, my goodness gracious. The barf coming out of the missile line ship here. Let's see... Depending on what secret combination this is, this could be really, really bad for Postal Service here. It's... I mean, it has point defense. The 120s are dual purpose, so they can shoot. But if these lock on, it's going to be a bad time for this ship. A little bit of point defense cover coming from the ship up here. It's probably not going to be enough. Let's see. Oh, there go the Seekers. All converging. Oh, this is going to be one dead Axford. There they go, slamming into the front. And, yep. And right there, it's perfect use case for stone walls instead of the 120s. That is an unfortunate point defense check failure there. Yeah, Cruise Barf, you know, I've said it before, I've said it a million times. It's really super punishing to people who don't bring the proper point defense mix. In that case, double stone walls on this left and right would have maybe not defeated every single missile, but wouldn't have let, you know, half a dozen of them slam into the front of this thing. As is, there's restores available, but it's a really rough situation now for this Axford. I think it's player... Let's see. The C is alive, so off he goes. Still going to putter around, attempt to do something. At least firing the missiles that it has would be something, as opposed to the nothing. If the player just rage quit out, which, you know, I wouldn't blame them in that case. So, interestingly, I believe, yeah, that was 13% of the missiles on this, so they only have about... Did their radar break? Do they have a radar? Yeah, their parallax is fine. Are they intentionally running it off? I don't think we can see that, can we? Is there actually a way to see? Oh, is it sensor coverage? Huh. I've actually never looked at that stat before. Signature? Signature here. Yeah, but this minimal can be... Okay, so they have a Prowler drive, right? That's why you can't always trust this. If it says minimal, that doesn't necessarily mean that their radar is off. Because there's more than one thing that adds to it. I hope that this Prowler... Okay. At least they took a big drive. Yeah, but we don't have the radar. Like, I know the radar, like, on or off, but I don't think we have access to that window. Another volley coming in here. It looks like it's going for point C. That's where my money is. Gonna sweep under the bottom. Potentially. These are coming out in a really weird pattern. I've not seen something like this before. I think they cut it too close, and they're not going to activate, so they fly by. Ooh. Meanwhile, TCBY has launched a rocket strike. Oh, and they've decimated. Those are so many rocket hits right there. Although, interestingly, it looks like they actually didn't manage to go all the way through the armor. Perhaps a little bit of a greedy play there by choosing to split the rockets instead of dumping all of them onto one Axford. Perhaps a mistake in the targeting. Sometimes this happens on a top and bottom loaded rocket launcher. I'm not sure exactly what it is about the targeting logic, but it can fire like one rack instead of another and not at the same time. So there's 250s available. The RPF is coming in here. It's going to shut down these shuttles pretty quickly. And certainly lucky for this Axfords. I think definitely you can see the armor damage on one and the other where those strikes hit. Oh, here comes more. These are more of the missiles coming in from the MLS line ship. And these are going to hit. At least some of them. Looks like there's a backup strike. Definitely going to put some pain onto this. There's quite a bit more point defense available on this ship versus the other Axford, but it looks like the stone walls have shut down, and that's bad news for fighting size 2s. Actually, do these have stone walls? I think I saw a stone wall, I think. Are there only 2? Yeah, so there's only the 2 which got taken out in that first strike. So all the stone walls down now on this fleet. That means any backup rocket strikes, which are probably going to happen in a little bit from the fleet down here, or even if the MLS line ship, or even the container ship, really. This container ship, not a huge fan of this. It hasn't fired any missiles yet. Here, I think no, that's still more coming out of the line ship. Yeah, I gotta say, not taking the stone walls on the left and right side of the Axford at this day, where the meta is currently, is just asking to get missile dumped. It's very, very popular now. MLS line ships, MLS monitors, just to shoot a ridiculous amount of missiles like this. And the defenders are not up to the task of dealing with mass S2s. They can kill 1 or 2 per defender per strike, but you know, this is what, 32 S2s at a time, maybe 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think it's 16 and then another 16, and they just don't have the power. Sort of an aggressive push out of this Axford to begin with. Let's back up a little bit. The cruise barf line weakens the PD and the container ships followed up. Yeah, I was really expecting the container ship to be lobbing containers at this point, but I'm not sure. Let's see what it's doing. At least it's maneuvering. Maybe these are direct fire, and that's why we haven't seen any of them. Although that is pretty unusual to run a line ship with direct fire missiles, considering how cheap it is to get cruise guidance on them. But yeah, absolutely. An MLS kind of barf strike like that to go in, maybe not kill a ship, but at least get 1 or 2 missiles to break down the point defense would allow all of these containers to get in. And the containers are like the kings of point efficiency, as long as they hit. Instead, it looks like they're going for this fresh Axford. Let's check out its PD. Oof, it has the least of the bunch. And there it goes. It only had that single Aurora. Someone is streaming my stream. What? Oh, and behind that come more MLSs, more containers. This thing is giga dead. Oh boy. Well, hi, Ice Ant Burn. You know, there's almost too many missile strikes for me to keep track of. Looks like we missed those rockets. I don't think they were particularly effective, though. This seems to pretty much be the level of destruction already. And yeah, this is absolutely just going to be the story of how 4 Axfords got missile struck to death. Let's see. So this Axford is the only Axford in the entire game that has a mostly properly set up PD. I would like to see this other defender as a Stonewall. 2 Stonewalls on either side are really what you need. Here come in more containers. There's nothing left on these fleets. I mean, the game is a foregone conclusion. At this point, we're just watching ships blow up, really. Something might be wrong with that secret combination. Maybe it's ARAD. Everything on these is dead. Speaking of, never, or I should say always take some kind of backup seeker if you're going with ARAD. Otherwise, you can just flip a single button and they'll sail on by. Or, you know, be dead like this. I believe both these ships... Yeah, they're not dead yet, but they're going to be. All reactors have... Let's see. So no crits on those. There are crits here. So this ship can scram, but if it scrams, then it is out of the game. So it basically can't do that. I don't think these are decoys. At least I didn't see any of them out. They looked like full containers when I checked them out. So I don't think it's the case. Yep, there, that ship is legally dead now. It's probably going to explode, actually. So, I might have mentioned this before. Not sure, but... Ooh, there it goes. A ship marked gray actually isn't, like, safed, right? It can, for example, have a fire that will burn and set off a critical on the reactor and cause it to explode long after. Interesting. We see those Tempests. Oh, they managed to clip one of the shuttles. Takes it out instantly. Wow, blew the whole thing out. If that beam connects, it's going to kill this other shuttle. And it's got 250 RPF. So I believe it's definitely going to die. Not that it matters. Really, the story here is these plasma 100 mil monitors are going to be able to engage and face tank and take care of whatever else is on the ANS side. If there were only missiles available, it's theoretically possible that these ships could weather enough missile fire that eventually they'd be able to run them out of ammo and then cap points. I've seen something like that happen before. I mean, they have beams, so it is possible for them to get back into the game. But this fleet, with how tanky it is and the fact that it can push out a lot of damage after this plasma connects, they're going to have a really hard time. I mean, let's see. They have one half-crippled... Hey, Admiral Obvious. Thanks for following. They have one half-crippled Axford. It only has the rear at full health. Oh my god. Even more missiles. I believe... Okay, so there's one volley left on the missile line ship. And we'll check this Axford out. As it can see, its doom slowly coming towards it. All the missiles start tracking in. Oh, they've run out of fuel, though. Catastrophe. That's an oopsie right there. That was funny. They were just... Oh, man, they had to be under 1,000 meters short before they ran out of fuel. That is a very funny... Oh, there go the rest. Pop, pop, pop. But yeah, at this point, we can take a look at the armor damage. It's completely stripped out this Axford. And the 100 mil is going to start doing crazy amounts of damage here. We can see it flashing already. So this Axford. I believe the CIC, yeah, the CIC's got knocked out, so it's dead in the water. More plasma, more 100 mil are going to come in and kill this. And that will leave basically this one Axford fleet remaining. It's at full health. It has a beam available here, plus its 450 backpack. Does it have missiles left? It has a couple missiles left. If this fleet can manage to take out this monitor fleet, the ANS have a shot at winning. It's not a great shot, but it is a shot. There are still the full volley available to TCBY. He's got about 72, so that might be another 6 volleys on the monitor that haven't fired yet. The missile line ship is out of missiles. The container line ship still has plenty, but this is a very strong PD net. I doubt the containers are going to be able to get through this. It has the stone walls, plus some backup from more defenders, and the 250 RPF here. It's really going to come down to how much damage this Axford... If this beam got in range, that could be huge for the ANS side. Every other ship is completely dead. Ooh, here come in the S2s, though. They went around the rock. That's not good for the ANS. They slam into this destroyer. That is more than likely dead. Calculated, indeed. What a good angle of attack right there. This DD is completely taken out. It might get its CNC back. So it's technically not dead yet. That was a huge play by that missile line ship, curving them around that rock just enough. When a missile attack comes from a direction the very first time, the turrets have to spend some time swiveling to engage that. And that's really, really crucial. Also, why, if you ever play a missile-based ship and you're finding you have a hard time getting through point defense, it's always worth, you know, assuming you have the missiles available, trying to attack from a different angle. And you can really push in some missile attacks that would have otherwise completely failed if you just come from a different direction and get the time on target that these turrets all have to spend turning. That's exactly what happened there. By coming over the rock, I mean, just this distance to the rock, that's plenty of engagement range for stone walls to take out S2s, but not if they're pointed in the wrong direction. They have to kind of, you know, slowly trundle over there before they even fire. And that's exactly what happened there. So well done to that missile line ship. Still in the game, this Axford still full health. The missile line ship is now completely out of ammo.
The enemy secured Zone Comet.
And they have the points, but in my gut, I feel that this Axford is probably not interested in pushing and taking A or taking E, which at this point is absolutely what needs to happen. Hi, Ice and Burn. Thanks for following. Looks like a sneaky shuttle has come around and captured C. So a lot has to be a lot has to happen in order for ANS to stay in this game, and they only have one player left to do it. So while possible, it is certainly unlikely. And let's see if these containers are able to take out the Sprinter. Looks like no point defense on the Sprinter, and it's not maneuvering. So here we go. Do a barrel roll. One thing I do like, if you're going to have some kind of scout like this, a a pair of defenders on either side, plus, you know, moving. You have to move. You can't sit still and expect to live. But a pair of defenders plus a little bit of motion on a scout is actually does a really good job of keeping itself alive. You can defend yourself from size 2 strikes and certainly containers with that amount of firepower. Let's see what's going on with this Axford. Oh, here comes that monitor, the TCBY. Oh, and it's lined up its missiles along with the containers, splitting the point defense. It's going to have a real hard time here. Out go decoys. Oh, they managed to stop one missile hitting, but there's still... I believe that was a container that got through? Yeah. And it's just done a tremendous amount of damage on the bow here. Yeah, it looks like it hit right there. Took out the top turret, all the modules in the front. Do they look like boxing gloves? Really? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, Piston. They still have this monitor that has a lot of missile strikes left. That didn't use them at all. I mean, it's a very tough game to win. I was mostly making that comment, like, if it was on target and point defense all active, it had a shot, especially when that destroyer was still alive. But sniping out that destroyer really changed the game a lot. Now, with the damage it's taken, in no way can it defend itself from what's happening here. Here come more containers. There's still defenders up. Still some wonky... So this is what I was mentioning earlier. Okay, so those are going for chaff. That's what happened there. They aren't decoys. The decoys don't look like containers. Looks like, unfortunately, a bunch of other containers have gone for that dead wreck. Not that it really matters. I mean, this ship is beyond trouble. Yeah, here come the monitors to blast it with plasma. This has got to be full damage plasma at this range. There goes the bottom turret. There's only the missiles left, of which it doesn't have any. So, in very short order, it will be chewed to pieces. Sort of unfortunate. A little bit of a loss at fleet selection. Not that Axford spam can't do the job. It just maybe not several fleets that are featuring only Axfords. Something like this fleet that had the proper point defense set up on the Axford with some escort ships had a better chance. It's just really tough. You're asking a lot of a single ship hull like this fleet and this fleet. Obviously, you know, if you want to bring a backpack, it's expensive. But in that case, you know, I'd advocate more that you need to bring cheaper missiles. Not that you can't bring missiles. Bringing missiles on an Axford is fine. It definitely does work. But if you're going to bring them, don't bring, you know, like 16, 30-point size 3H capital killers. There's no way you're going to be able to afford anything else that you need in an Axford fleet to do something like that. Bring some cheap missiles, bring some escort ships, bring a little bit extra PD, especially bring screening ships. I don't know how many times I've seen people do just absolutely absurd things, like stick a sprinter out in front of a battleship or an Axford and just have it eat like hundreds of missiles. I would say that's a pretty good strategy, definitely. Sticking something out in front of your capital. I mean, that's what they're there for, right? They're escorts. What I say about 50 to 70% of this game is won in the editor? Yes and no. I think this game really has a you must be this tall to ride level of consistency and quality in the builds. Not specifically, okay, bring this module is better than that module. But I mean, overall, as you go into designing fleets, you'll start very, very it's very common for newer players to say, well, I don't want too many, ships. I don't want to control that much. I feel like it's too much. And so they wind up very often with like a battleship or a Axford. And that's easier in their minds, I guess, to say, okay, I only have one ship and I can focus on controlling it, and that'll make the game easier for me. The problem is right now that you wind up so often in all your eggs are in one basket, and if there's any chink in the armor that you set up for that basket, it just completely gets blown up, and then your whole fleet is gone. Whereas I'm not saying don't bring capitals, especially in Axford is like an easy way to play the game, absolutely, but bring some other ships to support it, and especially screen for it, and do like some E-War, some scouting, build a more redundant system so that one missile strike doesn't, just kill you, right? So I covered all the Axfords, the issues. I think especially, so two things there really would have helped the ANS. Number one, bringing a different mix of point defense, more stone walls, no Auroras. I saw a couple of Auroras for sure. They're super expensive and they don't do any job that ANS really needs done right now. So you could have saved points, not bringing Auroras, brought more stone walls, probably lived a little bit longer. But more important than that, if you have a bunch of capitals and there's no escorts, you have to deathball. And by that, I mean, 2 or 3 fleets in the same place. Maybe, send a scout, capture D, put all your fleets on C up at the top, and then drive forward into the middle as one big group. That would have been incredibly difficult for those missiles to deal with. And then the only frontline fleet you have on OSP are those monitors. They would have been absolutely shredded by 3 or 4 Axfords firing 450s at them. I mean, not even close would the outcome of that battle be. So those two things taken together, I think the ANS could have easily turned this into a victory. Missile-only ships are incredibly dependent on the enemy team either building the fleet with the wrong point defense or not playing, together as a group. And if those things happen, it can go the way where like a missile will score 0 hits. Yeah, now Auroras, I mean for ANS specifically. Auroras are great on OSP. Like, hell yes, give me some Auroras on OSP, right? But not on ANS. The OSP doesn't really have a weapon that you need an Aurora to fight.